This is the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition. Coming up,
Ice show, an aqua show, Back to the Future, which is obviously the Broadway West End theatre show.
Our goal is to have it as similar to a comedy club on land as possible. So we want it to feel like a club in Vegas. We want to feel like a club in New York. We want it to feel that way.
It's such a pleasure meeting an entire crew that are so smiley, so happy, and so invested in the work that they do.
so sit back and enjoy the trip with David Harris and Mark Gordon. And a very good morning to you, David. Bit of jet lag.
We shouldn't complain. How often do we say that in our podcasts?
Probably less than the amount of complaining we actually do.
Probably less than the amount of complaints we get from listeners about the fact that we have a good life.
Let's get down to Tachlis, because you said we spend too long talking about nothing. Why are we here and where are we?
Right now, we're actually overlooking really, really flat terrain in Florida.
My first time ever in Florida, would you believe?
Considering you spent a lot of time in America, yeah, it is interesting.
I work for a cosmetic retail company and we did open up stores in Miami, but it was in my last few months there, so I never got to visit Florida.
I'm so sorry. We're sidetracking again. We're in Orlando. We're right by the airport. We arrived from Israel late last night. It was a long flight. It was an excellent flight with United into Newark. It was very smooth. It was very lovely. A good length stopover. This is now a really important piece of advice. If you are flying into the United States, always add some extra time for connections, because very often when you fly into the US, you have to clear customs, and yesterday it took us over an hour to do that because the line was so long, and B, you've then got to wait for or find your suitcase to recheck it onto your next flight. If you see a flight where the booking is less than 2 hours, my personal advice is don't take it. Have a longer connection when you're flying into the United States from overseas.
We're in Orlando.
No, come on, that was a valid sidetrack.
Well, it wasn't a sidetrack, it was very important information, David.
Thank you.
And that was not a valid interruption. I was just about to flow there. We're in Orlando for a very important reason. You can hear more about Orlando itself in an upcoming podcast, but we're here for the launch of the largest ship in the world. Although, I think it's the joint largest ship in the world because it's exactly the same length as its predecessor.
Predecessor was Icon of the Seas from Royal Caribbean?
Correct. And we're going to taste Star of the Seas, which incidentally is the only ship with a single syllable, something of the seas. That was the fun fact that I came up with. There's Icon, there's Jewel with 2 syllables, there's Ovation with even more.
Does Jewel have 2 syllables or 1?
It depends how common you are. If you go Jewel, it's 1. If you go Jewel, which is the correct pronunciation, it's like 1 and a bit.
Fascinating though it may be, we are going to take you on board. We're going to show you the delights of a brand new, they don't call them ocean liners anymore, a brand new cruise ship.
Well, at least you didn't say boat, David.
Before we set sail, why don't you offer a quiz question?
Talking of ship names, this is our question. What was the name of the first Royal Caribbean ship, which was one of the first, if not the first, large ship to set sail as a Caribbean ocean liner? Ocean liner or cruise ship?
The answer at the end of the podcast.
This is Mark Gordon from the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod, or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com.
I'm now modelling a sofa in a special part of the ship.
We're at the aft, I believe.
No, we're at the back.
Yes, thank you. Aft as in afters, as in afterwards, as in afterthought or afterthought.
I'm not sure there is an after. You just move from meal to meal and drink to drink and room to room and party to party. But we've come to suite viewing and room viewing as part of our media trip.
This is suite as in a bedroom rather than suite as in
Well, we
dessert.
had dessert before we came, but the other sort of suite, spelled S-U-I-T-E.
I'm very impressed. That's French.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, I wouldn't have said it then if I'd have known.
Stop it. The ship is actually being launched next week, but this is a pre-sailing sailing. A lot of the people who are on board are journalists, people from the travel industry, and some of them have brought their families along, and they're wandering up and down this corridor, which has got regular staterooms. In fact, my stateroom is halfway down this huge long corridor which runs the length of Star of the Seas.
Would that be your stateroom with a balcony, David?
As opposed to your stateroom without a balcony?
No, I have a viewing area. They're roughly the same size with a balcony, but my balcony is inside.
Yours is really
or
cool.
a room, as we call it.
Yours is really cool. Anyway, we're trying to explain. We said we weren't going to waffle anymore. We're trying to explain where we are and why so many people are walking into this bedroom.
And the wonderful thing about being on a trip like this, before it's launched, is everything is brand new. The carpets have not been trodden on. The decking, it's all clean and crisp and tidy.
Pristine.
And in this ultimate family townhouse, it's not even a room, it's a house.
It has
a private entrance that goes down to one of the pools.
Did you go on the balcony?
No, I didn't go on the balcony. There was just too many people here.
So the balcony goes around the corner of the ship.
Wow.
And it's got the jacuzzi, it's got dining areas, whatever. Did you see the dining room?
There's a dining room in it?
The dining room, yeah, because I know you came
No,
out.
I found the slide, and after that I was
Right.
just mildly amused. And the stairs that light up as you go up them and play music because they're shaped like a piano.
And you'll see that, of course, if you go to our YouTube at Mark David Pod. The dining room has a stunning black and red dining area, huge TV, beautiful new coffee machines, you name it, a full kitchen. And then there's a table that is as long as a very nice, fancy dining table.
Or your room.
That is all computer games. So on the dining table, you can play computer games while you're eating. This suite that we're in, 2 floors. It's got 3 bedrooms. The bathrooms are to die for, both with double sinks. If you had a house like this, you'd be so proud.
Especially as it travelled the world and went to the Caribbean and back.
Star of the Seas, and the name of this particular suite
Is the ultimate family townhouse.
The chairs here are quite funky. They're tartan, and embroidered on the back are some pictures of foxes with monocles.
We've opened a fine rosé from the Pays-d'Oc region of southeastern France.
To stand in front of the Birth of Venus by Botticelli and just take it in.
Turning their backs on these magnificent architectural wonders, and all they want to do is have that Instagram moment.
I listened to the guide for 2 minutes while I was on Wikipedia.
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition with Mark Gordon and David Harris. So we've been wandering around the ship for a good hour or so. Let's talk about a few of the things that we've seen.
The first thing that struck me about this ship is the colour. It is full of colour. We've been on a couple of other Royal Caribbean ships, Harmony of the Seas and Wonder of the Seas. Beautifully decorated, big ships with plenty going on. But the thing that struck me in this ship, which is part of the new Icon class, is the colour. These ships, both Icon and Star, are going to be doing trips from America in and around the Caribbean through Mexico, and you pick up that Caribbean theme, that Mexican theme throughout this ship.
So let's actually, now you've mentioned that, go back to our welcome.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Unbelievable. So we have come into Port Canaveral, which is, I guess, the launching point for this particular cruise. And
I hope so, because if it's not, we're in
we're
the wrong place.
and on the wrong ship. It's the first time that Mark and I have been to Port Canaveral. The welcome that we got from the staff, from the Royal Caribbean team, was absolutely unbelievable.
The contrast between Newark Airport yesterday and the 80 minutes we spent in the passport queue, and the 10 minutes from leaving our coach to being at the muster in the lobby was just incredible. And everybody along the way said hello.
Caribbean band playing Calypso.
Every single person smiled, interacted, and yes, people are employed to be jolly, but you felt this genuine warmth. People were happy to be here. They felt something about being at the launch of the ship.
Welcome to Lincoln Park. It's a fancy restaurant. It is not only food and booze paired, and I shouldn't really use the word booze because we're talking really nice top level drinks, but it's also paired with live music. Lincoln Park is the name of the place, and it is one of the premier specialty restaurants on board Star of the Seas.
We're very lucky to be in the Lincoln Park Supper Club. I know a lot of journalists have tried to break their way in here, but we've been very lucky to have this as our venue. And as David said, this is not only a dining venue, it's an entertainment venue. And we're going to talk about the entertainment on Star of the Seas because that is a central pillar of what goes on here. And we're joined by a special guest.
Hello guys, so my name's Alicia, I'm all the way from the United Kingdom. So I'm an entertainment activity staff here on the beautiful Star of the Seas, and I've been with Royal Caribbean for 3 years now.
We're pre-launch. So what did you do for the previous 3 years?
So I've done a few ships. My first contract was Brilliance of the Seas, so I started on quite a small ship. After that I went to Wonder of the Seas, and then Oasis of the Seas, and then I done the startup for Icon of the Seas, obviously, which is the first Icon class. After that I went to Anthem of the Seas, and now here on the beautiful Star of the Seas.
So how long before you do all 28 or 29 ships?
Oh, we'll have to see. I would hopefully like to say one day that I have done all of the Royal Caribbean ships.
Tell us what you do here.
We host daily trivias, we host game shows, we do dance parties, dance classes. We always do the sail away on day one. It's really about bringing all the activities and the entertainment for the guests every single minute of every single day.
Let's go back to when you were a kid. Were you the young girl in school or at home who would put on plays, who would be singing?
I'm a dancer. I absolutely love to dance. From a young age, I was always watching YouTube videos of dancing, and I'm really into that entertainment background. So growing up as a kid, I know I always wanted to do something about working overseas, whether it be hotels, whether it be cruise ships. And from there, I actually went to college and I studied travel and tourism. After that, I was a travel agent. So I was actually selling cruises. I was selling cruises, selling package holidays. And I really did want to get out of the office job and into the entertainment and activities industry. So then I did apply for a job in Greece. And I was activity staff there in Greece for 9 months. And then after that, I really did want to make my way over to cruise ships. So that's when I looked at the different cruise ships online. Royal Caribbean came up. I applied for it. 3 years later, I'm here.
Say this is my first cruise with Royal Caribbean and I'm looking for something to do in the evening. What would you recommend on Star of the Seas?
Wow. There's actually so much to choose from. We have all the way from Ice Show, where obviously they perform amazing dances, flips on the ice. We have an aqua show, where it's combined of dancers, synchronized swimmers and diving. And we also have a Back to the Future show, which is obviously the Broadway, West End, Back to the Future theatre show. We also have loads of game shows, adult game shows and family game shows. So Perfect Couple, Quest, we have things like Finish That Lyric, 60 Seconds or Less, and obviously every single night family karaoke as well. But that's only just some of the game shows that we do. Obviously we have a lot more as well. We also do like Name That Tunes and trivias, Name That Tune 90s, Name That Tune 70s. We also do loads of theme night parties. Here, especially on Star of the Seas, we have a dance party called Let's Dance. We do that on the promenade, so to get everybody involved, it's absolutely amazing. And we also have one called Millennium Mania, which we actually done last night, again on the promenade, which is all of the 2000s babies. So there is literally something for everybody.
This might sound like a weird question, but is there too much? Somebody comes on for a 7-night sailing and you get a booklet, or you may have already got it in an email, and you think, I don't know where to start because there's so much entertainment.
I wouldn't say there's too much. We just like to offer something for everybody. Because cruises, you've got different nationalities, you know, everyone's not going to be into the same thing. So we like to offer something for everybody. Because we're families, obviously we've got all different ages. Again, we like to offer something for absolutely everybody. There is a lot to do, but I think it's better to have more things to do rather than not enough things to do.
You mentioned the perfect couple thing. It's a little known secret, but when David and I first went cruising with our families, they didn't want to take part, so we took part as a perfect couple and we won.
You won?
We won.
They probably thought we were a couple. We've got our own families at home. But yeah, amongst the things that we had to do, which was the worst? The balloon?
The balloon. You had to
The
burst
balloon
balloons
popping.
without...
Balloon
so-
popping between your bodies.
He jumped on top of me while I had it on my lap. I still walk with a pronounced limp, but...
That's one of the favourites, that one.
Yeah.
When they see the balloons coming out, everyone's like, yes!
We got a bottle of bubbly out of it. It was a lot of fun.
See, there you go.
Star of the Seas is the joint largest ship in the world. There is room probably to do lots of things. Is this the first ship that has 2 escape rooms?
Yeah, so this is the first ship that has 2 separate escape rooms. One escape room is a diner escape room experience where we take you back to the 1950s and you need to try and find, actually I'm not going to spoil it for you. And then we also have the record store escape room where we take you back to the 80s. The 50s and the 80s, obviously, because we have Back to the Future. So that's why they based one in the 50s and one in the 80s.
I've just got this idea of an escape room where you've got the same track, music track. I don't know, like, what was it that Aha sang? You got Take On Me just playing for 60 minutes and you're going crazy, let me get out of here.
It's an encouragement to get out quicker.
It is an encouragement to get out, but it's so much fun. I've been doing it now for the past few days, watching groups go in, and they are having a lot of fun.
Part of your job title mentions the escape rooms, but you've also got the responsibility of working in so many others. Have you got a favourite?
For me, because I love dancing, I do love the dance parties. Yeah, so on the night, on this ship, it's Let's Dance and Millennium Mania. But all throughout Royal Caribbean, we do like 70s, 80s. There is a lot of theme nights. And because it's one of the big events of the cruise as well, obviously a lot of people get there, we get a lot of feedback, a lot of energy, and it's just a really good time.
When the ship is in port, what do you do?
Depending on your schedule, really. So we do get time off. Obviously, when we have time off, we can do whatever we want. We can either stay on board. Some people like to maybe sleep, or get their laundry done. Other people like to get out. They can obviously, again, depending on which port we're in, maybe go shopping or sunbathe, go to the beach, go to a restaurant, have some food, because obviously, we like to get out as well.
How often do you go home?
My contract, or the entertainment activities team contract, they're usually 7 months, approximately, give or take. And then after, when that's finished, we go home for approximately 2 months. When I'm at home, or when people are at home, obviously we spend time with our friends, our families, and then we will go on our next ship, our next contract.
Are you going to stay on Star of the Seas, or are you waiting for the next new ship and you're going to keep moving from ship to ship?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'm actually here till February. We will get our contract usually a couple of months before we leave here. We'll have to see what's in store. I wouldn't mind going on. We have Legend of the Seas coming out, which is doing Europe at the start, so that would be pretty amazing. But yeah, honestly, I like all Royal Caribbean ships. I love just travelling anywhere, to be honest. It's one of the best ways to see the world and to travel all around the world.
I've got 2 questions for you, and
Yes.
since you're into trivia,
Yes.
all right, I'm going to give you a choice.
Okay.
You can either choose question A or question B.
Question A or question B? Let's go for question B.
Oh, the other
Oh,
one would have been
no.
much more fun. This is my standard question that I ask people when they've got a nameplate that says, ask me anything. My question is always, can you name the capital of the Comoros Islands?
Oh, can I name the capital of the Comoros Islands?
Beep, beep.
How long do I have to think about
beep,
this?
Beep,
Would
beep.
you like to use your Google?
That would be great.
Yeah.
I heard this yesterday and I still don't remember it.
You don't remember what I said?
No. I don't listen to you, David.
Mark remembers absolutely everything. Moroni is the answer.
Moroni.
Yeah.
Write that one down for the next trivia.
Yeah,
it's
right.
a really
That's
answer.
going in my trivia now.
And now I'll ask question A.
I was
going to
say, I want to know question A now.
What about office romances? Below decks. Does
Okay.
it I think that's the type of thing that a lot of people want to know. Or maybe a lot of people don't even think about that. They just think it's a waiter, it's an entertainment person, it's a chef, and they don't go there.
It definitely happens. We do actually have a lot of married people on board. Obviously, they have families back at home. They come on here, obviously earn money. They can even get a cabin together as well. But, crew members are on here for a long time, 6-7 months. Definitely office romances happen. It is allowed. The answer to the question is it definitely does happen. There's no specific, it doesn't matter what job title you have. Everybody, if they want to, can have an office romance. So yeah.
And then play perfect couple.
And then play perfect couple and win the bottle of bubbly, yes.
Alicia, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having
us.
me here.
If you're coming onto Star of the Seas, then look out for Alicia. She's a bundle of laughs. We've met some of your other colleagues. It is such a pleasure meeting an entire crew that are so smiley, so happy, and so invested in the work that they do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is myth like what someone is before they become a Mrs.?
Have we just come back from a winery and we're a little bit sicker?
This is the most bizarre tourist attraction in Israel, I reckon.
I'm going for a steak. Let's hope it will love me tender.
A juniper bush! A juniper bush!
And he's buried here and in Jerusalem, possibly. There's a bird behind me. I need to run, but I've got no legs.
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition with Mark Gordon and David Harris. Mark, we're now recording by telephone because I didn't want to lug around our heavy microphones and recording gear any longer today. Tell us about what we just experienced, our first show on board.
We went to Absolute Zero, which is the ice skating arena, and we saw a spectacular show called Sol. Sol as in sun.
Which is strange because you don't associate sun with ice.
No. There was an emphasis on heat and sunflowers and sun and being out in the Midwest, cowboys, everything had to do with heat, which, like you say, is a really, really interesting juxtaposition with the ice.
Look at you with your big words on this episode.
I had to think that one up.
On another sailing that we did with another cruise company, there was a big mix of the video with the live performance. They did that a little bit here, but really it was just a way, I guess, of attracting your attention while there were scene changes and costume changes. This was really about performance.
It was about performance, but also the video was background. So there was one particular scene with sunflowers, and the ice rink was green with yellow sunflowers, and the costumes had sunflowers. So everything was really well coordinated. But as you say, the focus was the skating, and it was such high quality.
Agreed. Mark, you look like you want to say something else.
Yes. We are apparently on the, I think, 28th or 29th Royal Caribbean ship. And the more ice rinks they have, the more spectacular performers they're taking around the world. Is there going to be a shortage of ice skating performers if there are more Royal Caribbean ships?
It is actually a problem how you keep reinventing yourself. So, we had a cocktail before we went to the skating called 1400.
Why was it called 1400, David?
Because the first of the ships in this class, Icon, the eponymous Icon, was numbered in the shipbuilding yard in Turku, I believe it was in Finland, number 1400, and it was scratched into the first piece of metal in chalk as the order number 1400. And more than the cocktail that we drank that was 1400 was the menu.
As I said about a minute ago, this is the 28th, 29th ship. There's a long history of building ships that go back to 1970 for Royal Caribbean. And every 5-10 years they create another class of ships, and the bar 1400 celebrates the history of shipbuilding. For each class of ship there was a page on the menu, pictures of the ships and what was unique to those ships, and they created 1 or 2 cocktails for each class. The 1400s obviously for the new Icon class, and it was a really spectacular cocktail with a bubble with a pearl shimmer. Star of the Seas and Orlando Fact File. Star of the Seas is the second Icon class ship with Caribbean itineraries sailing from Port Canaveral. Port Canaveral is in Orlando. The nearest airport is Orlando International. There are no direct flights to Israel, but connections can be made with Air France and United. The nearest direct flights from Israel land in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. American, Breeze, Delta, Frontier, JetBlue, Spirit, Southwest and United also fly to Orlando from all over the United States. Air Canada, Virgin and British Airways also fly direct to Orlando. Port Canaveral is a 40-minute drive from Orlando Airport. You can order transfers to the port with Royal Caribbean during the booking process. Other transfer companies can be found on the Orlando International Airport website. Rideshare services such as Uber and Lyft are available from the airport and downtown Orlando. Star of the Seas has a wide selection of staterooms and suites to cater for all family sizes and budgets. For a family treat, try the ultimate family townhouse, which maxes the memories with 3 levels of unbelievable amenities like an in-suite slide and wraparound terrace with hot tub. Orlando has a humid subtropical climate, characterized by hot, humid summers and mild, relatively dry winters. The Bahamas has a tropical climate characterized by mild temperatures year-round. Star of the Seas has 17 complimentary dining venues, including the classic Windjammer Buffet restaurant, the Aquadome Food Hall and the 3-floor main dining room. For a special treat, there is a selection of specialty restaurants, including the all-new Lincoln Park Supper Club, combining high-end food, cocktail pairings and Chicago speakeasy-style music. Hungry on Coco Cay? Go to the Snack Shacks, the Chill Grill or the Skipper's Grill.
I hope you are enjoying the beautiful Star of the Seas. We're going to give you a pretty immersive tour of what we do on board, both food and beverage. My name is Lincoln D'Souza. I oversee all the food and beverage for the company, both for the ships as well as our private destinations around the world. So anything you have questions around food and beverage, I should be able to answer. If not, I definitely know who to call. If you think about this ship at full load factor, we have about 7,600 guests and about 2,700 crew members on board. And we've got to make sure we look after them and make sure they're fed well as well. So we take care of all of that on board our ships.
So we've now come into the main kitchen area for the main dining facility, which is over 3 floors and feeds more than 6,000 customers every night with a changing menu every day. So now we're going to hear a little bit about what you can see here.
Anton here. Anton's a shipboard employee. His job is a food operations excellence controller. So I'm going to say that one more time. Food operations excellence controller. It's a long title. You should see his business card. It's a page long. But about 2017, we started this journey called WOW. WOW stands for Win on Waste. And so when I joined this company in 2017, one of the things I identified really early on was that we were throwing a lot of good, wholesome food in the garbage. The journey I've been on in my life, I hate wasting food, like at home, anywhere. And I think any human being on the planet, if you drive an electric car, if you do anything that you think is green, the single most important thing you can do as an individual is not waste food. Because the journey that it takes to get food on your table is highly impactful to the planet, but it's also expensive. And you go to the supermarket and every apple looks perfect. That means that there's another 20% of those apples that went in the bin, right? And so this company is doing all sorts of stuff. But we want to do the art and the science way of reducing waste. So it started with really simple things, just to understand the potential of the waste. And then we built a proprietary in-house computer-based system that allows us to measure waste. We're going to show you a little peek of that today. We're going to walk you through. We'll let you take some pictures. The specific data collection part, what I would ask is no video. We'll tell you where you can take some still shots. It is proprietary to Royal Caribbean. We've built it in-house. We have an IT team who works with us to build this. And so it's really quite interesting. I think what I'll tell you is we've reduced waste by over 35% today. And I believe by this year, our goal was 50%. I would say by this year, we're going to be at 50%. And I think we're actually going to exceed our goals with some of the additional layers we brought in.
You're listening to the Jerusalem Post podcast Travel Edition. Find us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter at MarkDavidPod or mail us at markdavidpod@gmail.com. Food.
Yes, please.
Glorious food.
Nothing quite like it for cooling the mud.
More?
Yes, please, sir. Another bowl of gruel.
Well, one thing you aren't going to get on board the Star of the Seas is gruel.
Or Oliver the Musical.
No, because Back to the Future, the musical, is taking centre stage at the moment. But we're not talking about theatre. We're here to talk about food, grub.
Please explain theatre, because I'm sure no one knows what that is.
My father of blessed memory had two very funny words that he used to say. Not funny words, just the way he said them. One of them was theatre, that he used to say theatre, and the other one was railway.
Bless him. I loved your dad.
Actually, funnily enough, we're recording this pretty much around the time of his Yortzeit, as we say in the Jewish world, or his Memorial Day.
And I wish you a long life.
Thank you very much indeed. But we're talking about food on board this Royal Caribbean ship, Star of the Seas.
And believe it or not, there is plenty of it. There are so many places to get food, included in your package, as well as the staple hideaway. Is it the hideaway? Windjammer. As well as the staple...
You're actually sitting in the Windjammer right now.
Yes. There's no sign telling me where we are. As well as the staple Windjammer, which has a variety of international foods on a buffet. God, how many people are in here?
But you don't feel it.
No, it's not crammed at all.
There is a central, beautiful green area on the ship, and a lot of the suites that face inwards look down on this park area, and the floor that we're on, or the deck that we're on, deck 15, also encircles, so we can see outside and we can see down into this great big beautiful area, and then on the other side there's a whole nother part of Windjammer.
And if you don't want to come to Windjammer as a central point, there are smaller cafes that are open for breakfast, for lunch. The Pearl Cafe, the Park Cafe, where you can just get a small sandwich, a cup of coffee, cake.
This pineapple I'm having now is really, really good, with some blueberries.
I had a very lovely smoked salmon bagel this morning.
There are on board apparently as many as 40 eateries and drinking holes, which is rather a lot.
I've certainly tried most of the drinking holes.
Favourite?
Probably the Thorn and Thistle, because I do miss a good British pub.
I like the coffee cocktail place.
Oh, Ryan Bean.
Yes, that was excellent. You can get coffee and tea cocktails, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic.
And I'm not saying they get through a lot of espresso martini, but it's basically on tap. They don't even have to make it, because it is the staple of the Ryan Bean.
Staple is your word of the day.
Yes. I bought my stapler to put my...
Well, if you're going on a cruise, be prepared. You get a whole list of instructions ahead of time, which in Mark's case is incredibly necessary, otherwise he'll forget his swimming trunks or his UV top. But in addition to that, if you haven't been cruising, we'll tell you we've had this on several ships that we've sailed on. In all the paraphernalia that you're sent, all the way at the end of a PDF, you'll find a one page that you have to print and cut out and stick together and put it on your suitcase as an identifier.
So bring a mini stapler the day before, fold it up, and then your suitcase will arrive in the right room, possibly before you do.
Mini staplers are available at Mark David Pod.
The one thing we haven't mentioned is... Because little baby behind me who wants to join in, I think we might interview her next, because she has a lot more to say than me. The one thing that the ship does have as well is speciality restaurants. There is Chops Grill if you like a good steak. There's Izumi for those people that like to watch things cooked on a hibachi and tossed in the air in an entertaining way. There's Izumi as well for sushi. There's Hooked if you like seafood. There are plenty of speciality restaurants.
You also have to pay extra for these speciality, or as we should say specialty restaurants, because they are that little bit extra. But if you don't have the dollars to splash out, or the shekels, or whatever currency you prefer to splash in, well, the restaurants that come gratis with the package are wonderful. Windjammer is where we are right now. That's for your breakfast and lunch. There's a formal dining area as well, which serves wonderful 3-course meals. And there are lots of other little eateries around. If you just fancy a pizza, you could get a pizza at 2 in the morning if you want.
So far on this cruise on Star of the Seas, we've been to see the fabulous Seoul ice skating experience, and that was truly amazing. Not just the skating and the athletic ability, but the choreography, the lighting. And last night we went to see Talk through its final rehearsal, seeing divers, people bouncing on ropes, just really amazing stuff.
When you're sailing Royal Caribbean, you really get very, very high quality performers. These are people who've been on Broadway, they're people who've been in the Olympics. You're getting top end people who've taken that career and decided we're going to bring it onto the seas. So the shows are top rate. But it's not just about the shows.
No, as well as the top-rate athletes, there are top-rate theatre shows. We've seen Greece, I think, on a previous sailing. Hopefully we'll be seeing Back to the Future while we're on this cruise. But there is top-rate comedy as well. And we have a special guest with us. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, my name is Tony. I'm the comedy club supervisor here on board Star of the Seas.
Tell us a little about yourself and how you ended up here.
My family were seafarers, so we all worked in the cruise industry. My dad worked for cruise lines, my mom worked for cruise lines. They actually met on board Royal Caribbean International. So without Royal, I wouldn't even be here.
Which ship did they meet on?
Ooh, Song of Norway?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Song of Norway would be the ship.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And so did you grow up on a ship?
I grew up cruising. I spent probably I would come for about 3 weeks at a time. But after I came into the world, Mom kind of put her seafarer legs away and Dad stayed aboard.
Were you born on land at least?
I was born on land. I was born in Miami.
I'm so glad you didn't ask if he was conceived on land.
I was thinking about that, but this is comedy rather than insults.
What did your parents do? What were their jobs? Were they involved in comedy?
No, they weren't involved in comedy. My mom used to be a cruise program administrator, and my dad was actually a cruise director for a long time. For 25 years, he was a cruise director.
So not just cruising, but entertainment.
Entertaining, yeah.
How did you start with the Royal Caribbean?
I have a musical theater background, so when I was growing up in school, I used to do all kinds of musical theater, radio, the news team, all kinds of stuff like that. I always wanted to go into entertainment. I just didn't know what the outlet was going to be, whether it was going to be cruise ships, whether it was going to be Broadway. I was going to go to musical theater college, and right before that, I went on a cruise, and I was like, I think that I would be good at that. So I auditioned for college, and then after that, right before I was about to go, I went on one final cruise. And then I decided, you know what, I think this is what I want to do with my life. So instead of going to college, I went straight into the entertainment business here at Royal Caribbean, and I've been doing it for 3 years, and I have zero regrets, and I'm going to continue to keep on going.
Talk us through those 3 years. First of all, what ship did you start on?
I started on Independence of the Seas. It was a 3 and 4 day cruise out of Port Canaveral, so it was right after the Royal restart I came in. Right after that, I did one full contract there. And then I requested to go to Wonder of the Seas, which at the time was the biggest ship in the world. And I did a full contract there. And then I said, you know what, let me challenge myself again. So they were taking applications for Utopia of the Seas. So last year I opened Utopia of the Seas. I did 3 months there. And then luckily enough, I was actually chosen to go to Icon of the Seas to be comedy club supervisor there. And then I said, you know what, let's get challenged again. So I applied for Star of the Seas, and now I'm here doing Comedy Club here.
Did you start on comedy?
No, I didn't. So comedy is a newer position. The position originally launched on Icon, and they are slowly rolling it through the different ships that have comedy clubs on board. So Oasis class and above have it. Right now, Icon has it, Allure has it, and Star has it. They're the only 3 in the fleet to have it, so it's a new position.
So what does a comedy club supervisor do?
For me, I set the venue every single night. I seat the venue, so our goal is to have it as similar to a comedy club on land as possible. So we want it to feel like a club in Vegas. We want to feel it like a club in New York. We want it to feel that way. So when we're making it feel that way, we want to make sure it stays the same. So if we have the person come in and out, a different person every single night, it's never going to feel the same. It's never going to look the same. So we have different comics every single week. So here on Icon class, we're lucky enough to have 3 different comics every single week. So they usually stay about 2 weeks. Sometimes they stay a month. But the way it works is they come in, they're world-class performers. Some of them work in Vegas, some of them work in New York. They're all around the world. So we get all different kinds of comics from everywhere. For me, the host position, I host the shows, so I set the venue, but I also introduce the comics as they come in. I tell them a little bit about themselves, and then I bring them up, I open the show, the comics go, and then I close the show, and that's all there is to it. We start. We usually have about 2 to 3 shows every single night, And it's usually about a 15-minute window to reset that venue. We get everybody out, and then we start bringing the next folks in.
If you're up on stage, does that mean you also have to be a funny guy?
I would hope so, but yes, I would say so. I would say you got to be able to pull them in and make sure that they're there. When you're introducing that show, you have to make sure there's energy for it, because if you don't bring the energy, the first comic is going to be a little bit dead in the water. You have to set the expectation level for the comic who's coming inside for this, because I think it's very important that you do set that expectation. Because if you don't, the comic is going to have to build that expectation for themselves.
How does Star of the Seas find the comedians? Do they have to appeal to an international audience, or are they mainly aimed at the American audience?
It depends where the ship is really located. For here, it's all English speaking comics, but it really depends on where the ship is located, whether it's in Europe. If we're in Europe, or we do have some Spanish-speaking comics as well, we have bilingual comics. It really depends on where it is.
But is comedy international? So Mark is a funny guy. He's actually done open mic stuff.
Okay.
But when Mark tells some of his jokes to Americans, they don't necessarily laugh the same way that the Brits do.
Correct.
When he tells those
I
jokes.
think that's an international thing. People don't laugh in all languages.
When you're telling the jokes, yeah. Fair enough.
I would say it is an international thing, but you are completely correct. It does depend on where you're from. For example, like y'all are from over in the UK, right? So I might not find the same thing that you guys find funny.
Star of the Seas is a family experience.
Correct.
Is the comedy a family experience, or is it aimed very much at the parents and other adults?
It is 18 plus. It is adult comedy here aboard Star. We only have adult comedy on board.
Which means we're not going to be sharing any jokes on this podcast. But having been said, the atmosphere that you're trying to create there is one of friendship, is one of connection, is one of making the audience feel part of the Royal Caribbean family.
Correct, yes, sir.
I'm not going to ask you to tell a joke, because that's the worst thing you can ever do to someone who's funny. But tell us about the funniest thing maybe that's ever happened in the comedy club.
Ooh, so a lot of our comics are crowd work comics. They come in and usually they talk to the front row, but there's a lot of funny things that has happened in the club. It's hard to choose just one. A lot of the comics on board talk about cruise-related content. It just resonates with the crowd because they're here, they understand. There was one time we were having a show and one of the comics was talking about the towel holding. A lot of people like to keep towels on top of the chairs and they go away and they come back 15, 20 minutes later. And there was one lady on the far right-hand side and her husband was sitting there and there was another person and he was like, he just threw his hand up. He was like, yep, I do that. He fully admitted to it. He was like, I'm the towel holder. And the comic was just going at him for it. It was very funny.
I guess that's part of the risk of being
in the
there.
front row.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you ever have open mic nights?
No, we don't have any open mic nights.
Too risky.
Too risky. It's too risky. Too risky.
Talking about risk, you said that a lot of the comedy revolves around cruise. Now, a company like Royal Caribbean is very much into its brand, into the fact that everything's pristine and right. Is there a risk that the comedian is going to cross a line that the execs aren't going to be too happy about?
That's where my position comes in a little bit, though. For every single night, I do write a report, so it depends. They can push the limits, but there definitely is a limit that they can push to. So if I feel as if maybe we dial it back just a little bit, I'm able to send it to my supervisor or the shoreside team's supervisor team, and they can go in and look and be like, okay, is this okay? Or should we dial it back? And they can go in and talk to the comic if they need.
Comedy is a nighttime thing.
Yes.
What do you do for the rest of your day?
During the day, I'm an entertainment activity staff. So I'll be hosting trivias, game shows. Sometimes I'll hop into the theme night dance parties. I do a little bit of everything. Gangways, make sure just anything that is needed of me, I'm there to do it.
Trivia, David. I think Tony needs a question.
Oh, what, a different question or the
no,
same one?
No, the same question.
The same two questions?
Well,
or just one?
Certainly B.
Okay, I'm going to ask you question B.
All right.
What is the capital of the Comoros Islands?
Oh, man.
Superb faces.
Yeah.
Your time starts now.
Oh, man. I have no idea. Geography was not my best.
So, Mark, do you remember, now you've heard the question twice.
I do remember.
What is the answer, Mark?
The answer is Moroni.
Moroni.
So I don't remember.
There you go. Anyway. Meant to be a beautiful place. Tony, thank you so much for spending some time with us, and we look forward to seeing you. Are we going to comedy tonight?
We're doing comedy tonight.
We're doing comedy tonight, and we're not going to sit on the front row.
All right.
Reserve 2 seats for us on the front row.
Very good. Will do.
We'll be the hecklers.
All right.
Tony, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, guys.
Have you listened to the Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition yet? Hi there, I'm David Harris, and together with co-host Mark Gordon, we bring you the very best of the world of travel.
We've had our safety instructions and we're in a basket.
Either the cars are shrinking or we're going higher.
Now sat on a high chair.
You're listening to the last will and testament of Mark Simon Gordon.
We're in the independent micronation of Ujupis.
If I wasn't married, I'd be chasing away your indigenous 78-year-old and taking you for myself.
The drink afterwards, just to calm my nerves, will be number one, but this is definitely up there.
The Jerusalem Post podcast travel edition brings you the joys of travel and tourism. So why not subscribe today wherever you get your podcasts? Bobbing along, bobbing along.
We haven't bobbed since we left.
This is the amazing thing about these huge cruise ships. You know, people who haven't sailed will say, but what about seasickness and so on? You just don't feel anything.
Not a thing. Ed, who is Royal Caribbean's Director of Beverage Development, was talking to us yesterday, and he said, think of it not as a ship, but as a 20-block neighbourhood. He was talking about people's tastes, but actually it is like being in a neighbourhood.
20 blocks as in we're 20 decks?
I think he was talking about population in general and how many people are there and
Right.
how the population splits. But this is a long, deep ship with lots of people on it. At full capacity with crew, you're at 10,000 people. That's more than towns in Israel.
Yep. It's been an amazing 3-4 days, 5 days, whatever it was. And we've had a whole lot of fun. We've met lots of people, the vast majority of whom we'll never see again. But you build little friendships with individuals, and everybody pretty much on board, certainly all the staff, incredibly friendly.
What are your impressions, final impressions of this trip?
I'm not a beach person, and you'll hear in an upcoming podcast that we spent a day at Perfect Day at Coco Cay, which is Royal Caribbean's private island in the Bahamas. So you'll hear our feelings about that. But what I love much more than that is the time on the ship. There's so much to explore. You're never going to see everything in just a few days. But again, it's the smiles, it's the warmth, and especially that of the staff.
For me, this is the third time I've been on a Royal Caribbean ship. And this ship has something different. This is a new class. It's part of the Icon class. And there is a greater party element to it. While we were docked at Coco Cay, as David said, future episode, the crews from our ship and another ship met up. And they were talking on the pier. And you could see the staff from Symphony of the Seas with their very smart check shirts. And you could see the staff from Star of the Seas wearing Bermudan Hawaiian style shirts. This ship is fun. It's got its zones, it's got its neighbourhoods, and it's aimed at families. It's aimed at just having a really good, fun, relaxed time.
We want to say a very big thank you to all of the staff of Royal Caribbean, but particularly the PR team that we've worked with now for several years, and we've built up friendships with some of these folks, and it's a real pleasure to do business.
Yes, and especially Lucy, who is our key contact at Royal Caribbean, and to Plumie, who's looked after the media while we've been here. Thank you very much. And the technical team who have helped support us with camera work, sound work, and all the other things that make us look a load more professional than we really are.
And in fact, at some point in the near future, if it's not already up there, you'll see on our YouTube channel and across social media at Mark David Pod some of the video that we took with the help of the tech team on board to give you an idea of some of the facilities and fun things that you can do. Please mail us markdavidpod@gmail.com. Again, you can be in touch via social media at markdavidpod.
If you've enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoy all of our podcasts, and we're racing past 110 now, I think, give or take, Go and listen to them all and enjoy them. Get ideas for your holidays. And when you book those holidays, say, Mark and David told us.
Only if you enjoyed those holidays. Last thing before we go, Mark. Quiz question. Do you remember?
Yes, I remember. It was a question about what was the name of the first Royal Caribbean ship.
It's very Eurovision, isn't it?
It is, and has absolutely nothing to do with the Caribbean at all.
And it's funny because if you think these days it's Odyssey and Symphony and Icon and Star. And this one was...
It mentions the country. That's the name of another cruise line.
Which is?
Song of Norway.
1970?
It's certainly early 70s, but I think you're right, 1970.
That's 50 plus years of cruising.
And it's commemorated in a bar on board Star of the Seas. The 1400 bar has a special cocktail dedicated to the Song of Norway, as well as a cocktail dedicated to the Icon class.
You're such an iconoclast. Folks, that's enough nonsense from us. Take care until the next time on the Jerusalem Post Podcast Travel Edition.
Ship ahoy!